Welcome to Let's Get Creative with Sam, the podcast. I'm Sam Rawlins and I'm a children's creative counsellor. That means I help kids unlock their imaginations and explore the amazing world of creativity. But being creative can also be a great way to take care of our minds and feelings, which is super important. In this podcast, we'll be doing all sorts of fun things. We'll be sharing creative tips and tricks that can help us feel good, interviewing other awesome creative folks in the industry who use creativity for mental well-being, and maybe even doing some creative challenges together that can help us express ourselves. So buckle up, get ready to unleash your creativity and explore how it can help us feel our best, and let's have some fun. Hi everyone, I'm Sam Rawlins and I'm a children's creative counsellor, and this is my podcast, Let's Get Creative. I'm really excited because this is the first one of 2026 and I've made a few changes, so let's see how it goes. My first guest of this year is an amazing woman and I can't wait to speak to her and find out more about her. She's a coach, and that's all I'm going to say to you. So, hello, Rachel Brown.
Hi, Sam. Lovely to be on this podcast with you.
Definitely. And as I say, the first one of this year, so no pressures, you know. So would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
So, as Sam said, I am Rachel. I am a mental health, energy and conscious parenting coach. And I have created something called the Shift Method, which is a unique method, a powerful mind, body and soul framework, I would say, that really supports conscious mothers to break generational cycles, to heal deeply, and raise emotionally thriving children without burning themselves out at the same time. It's very important to me as a mum myself that all mums everywhere know that there is support out there for them, that they don't have to keep striving and burning themselves out to support their children. In fact, what I found through my work is the more that we put ourselves first, the more that we prioritize fun and all of that good stuff in our life, our energy changes, and that has the greatest impact on our children overall.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for that. It brings to mind when you're saying about like parents looking after themselves first, the one of the sayings that you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, don't you? So
yeah, absolutely.
And that sounds like that's what you're encouraging parents to be, because how can they support their children if they're in that real kind of difficult, high emotional or low mood, state themselves?
Yeah, and I think the work that I do almost takes it a step further in that I do a lot of work with energy. All our emotions are an energy. Everything in this world is energy. And if we are experiencing those difficult emotions, those ones that bring us down, that make us feel out of sorts, they all carry a negative emotion. And that negative emotion can be felt by the people around you. It's like when you walk into a room and the people in there have just had an argument, you can feel that tension in the air. And it's exactly the same with those emotions that make us feel bad, but also with emotions that make us feel good. And if we can surround ourselves with those good emotions, we are then surrounded by good energy, good vibes, and that is picked up by everyone else. And it's what I found in the work that I do is that it has a huge impact on the children. Our state as a parent, as a mother, can drastically change the child's state without necessarily having to physically coach them through things. Just how we show up is a huge bonus.
It sounds so wonderful what you do, and I can resonate with it so much, being a children's creative counsellor. So obviously there's a difference between a coach and a counsellor, but there's also a lot of overlaps as well, and that can be therapy for that family. It doesn't have to be I guess one of the biggest differences is that as a therapist, we focus on feelings and relationships. However, you as coaches do as well, but it's more, would you say it's more not directed, but more kind of structured? What would you say as a coach if like somebody would say that I actually need therapy now? What would you kind of recommend to them?
It's very dependent on the situation. I think every mother, for me, has a different upbringing. And I think what is most important is, and this is where the children come in, that often as a mother, we are triggered by our children. And it's those things like if they do something that we don't like, we could, however much we've said we wouldn't shout at them, we end up shouting at them anyway. It's a reaction to something. And I think our approach, or the approach that I take, is very much about understanding what's beneath that trigger. Okay, so for me, a coach, as you say, there is not much different that I can tell between coaching and counselling. The only thing that I would say with the coaching that I do is very much that I work through, I suppose it's the same as counselling. They bring to me what issues they have. Mm-hmm. And I tend to work through 5 different layers. So I work through physical, emotional, energetic, spiritual, and what's the other one? Spiritual, physical, energetic, emotional, spiritual, and anyway, there's 5, which makes up the shift. So the S is for soften the body, physical healing. The H is for heal the heart, which is emotional and generational healing. The I is for intuitive, influence the mind, which is mental healing. F is for free the energy, so energetic healing. And S is for, T is for trust the soul, so spiritual healing.
Yeah.
And I think what I love about it is that often both the energetics is missed a lot of the time by quite a few coaches. But if we have patterns in our body that have been there for a long time, and we don't release the energy which is sort of floating around us, then we don't create space for the new emotions and the new energy to come in. And to do that, you need to do the emotional healing, but going back through the generations. And this is where, when you're triggered by your child, if you can pause and think, what emotion is coming up in my body here, and when did I first feel that? You can often go back to, for example, I for a long time felt that I had to be a perfectionist, and when I've looked into it, it goes back to around 6 or 7 when my dad I had a test at school, you know, spelling test or something. I got 9 out of 10. And my dad said, well, what happened to the other one? And he was joking. And as an adult, I can totally see it was a joke
Yeah.
and that he was really proud of me. But as a child, particularly between the age of 0 and 7, you pick up everything and you take it to heart.
Yeah.
And so I assumed that I wasn't good enough at that time. And it's taken a long time to work through things like that. And if, as a mother, for example, your child says or does something that you have told them not to, you will get angry because you think you haven't done a good enough job as a mother. And it can relate right back to that time. So I don't think there is, to answer your question, an awful lot of difference in counselling and coaching. I think it's just the way you approach it.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Like what you were saying, there is a real variety on how coaches support, you know, what their fields are. You're an empowerment coach, somebody else might be a strategic coach or an aligned coach. There's all these different ways, isn't there? But very
Yeah,
much with counsellors as well, because you've got your counsellors, your therapists.
yeah,
It's all kind of in some ways under the umbrella of services for families. Not always, but how we work, definitely
yeah.
so for families. One of the things that hearing from you is you support the parent and the child, is that right?
I do. Yeah, yeah. So the parents is really a top-down approach. As I've said, you know, often things that we experience as a parent can get passed down through the generations. And so if we are the ones to break the cycles, then it affects the generations going forward. But with the children, it's also important to support them understand about their emotions. And I think particularly since lockdown, there's been a huge emphasis on how mental health has shifted with
Mm.
children, how many waiting lists there are for CAMS and all of that sort of thing. And as identification processes have got better, there appear to be more people with autism and ADHD, when in fact probably they were there all along. We just didn't know
Yeah,
about it. And
absolutely.
what I discovered, or what I wanted to do, having got a pharmacy degree and a holistic therapy diploma, and I've also got a PGC in education, I wanted to find a way during lockdown, when I saw how stressed my children were, how it impacted the parents. I wanted to find a way to support them to identify their emotions and release them without necessarily having to verbalize how they felt, because it's so difficult sometimes. And so what I wanted to do was use color, but use it in a way based around the energy centers that we have in our body, because we have these energy centers, sometimes known as chakras, where
Hmm.
different emotions can get stuck in our
Yeah.
body if we don't release them when we first feel them. And so I created a set of mental health monsters linked to the colors of these energy centers. So this is my first one. This is called Bixbite. He's a mini monster. And the idea really with this one is you give children the rainbow of colours. I always say children have a rainbow inside of them.
Yeah.
And this is the red one. So if they choose red, it can help me understand that they may well be feeling insecure about something.
Hmm.
And so on the back, I've also got an affirmation written which says, I am safe, to help them start to get on uh, that learning curve of understanding a little bit about affirmations. But again, also what we can do with this, because each energy center has different properties associated with it. So this red energy center is very much to do with grounding the body and vitality in the body. So I can create activities linked to that. So grounding, you could suggest to the child that they go and run around bare feet in the garden, or do some gardening. And just the act of doing that will help to release the emotion without them verbalizing it. So it not only helps me as a coach, but it can help the parents as well. So if their child is having a tantrum, for example, firstly, I would say don't raise your voice to them, because that makes it worse for the child. To be there for them. But afterwards, when they've calmed down, you can ask them, what colour were you feeling at that point in time? And let's do an activity to get that out of your system. And eventually they'll realise, as they grow, that they feel certain things when they are angry, and they will then know what activities to do to help them with that. So yeah, there's a whole range. So there's 7 altogether. So that's the mini one, and then I've got a big one as well. And then there's an orange. Let me see if I've got them all. There's an orange one. That's Unikite, and then a yellow one, banana shape. That's Scapolite.
Can I have that one, please? Send me that one.
What else have we got? We've got a blue one. That's for the throat, this area here, the energy one.
I recognise that one.
What else? There should be a green one somewhere.
Green, is that the eye?
No, it's heart area.
Heart area. I get confused.
This one is meant to be indigo. That's for this area, the third eye. It's got 3 eyes. This is very much about intuition. And trusting yourself. And then there is a purple one somewhere. Don't know where it is.
It's gone for a walk somewhere.
Yeah. So with each of these, I have a little card that goes with them. So it's their superpowers. So for the red one, it's I can help you feel safe and secure. I can help you feel healthy and energetic. I can help you feel like you belong. And alongside that, I've created some books to go with them. So only 2 are published at the moment, unfortunately. So the first 2. But in here, it's basically a story. So this one's about Bixbite, and he wakes up off colour. So he's pink instead of red, because he's scared about going to a new class at school. Mm-hmm. And so his mum teaches him lots of different activities throughout the book. And slowly he starts to get a little bit redder again, until at the end he's completely red by doing all the activities. And then there's also a meditation that I've written for each monster, and a song for each monster. And then there's a list at the back of all the activities you can do if you're feeling scared or insecure. And then along with that, I've also created a card pack of awesomeness. So this is the front cover. And then there's 21 cards here. So 3 of each of the colours. Yeah. And the idea with this is like it's a little child's oracle deck, really. And in the morning, they spread them out and they just choose one that jumps out at them, like you would in an oracle deck. Yeah. But on the other side is it's the monster and an affirmation, and then 2 activities they can do to release those emotions during the day. And one of the ladies, actually, she got it for her son, who was only 4. So obviously it's a bit young for him to be doing those. But what she said was that it made him feel that she understood him, and she put the card in his lunchbox so that he knew that she was with him throughout the day, and it made a massive difference. But alongside that, for the parents, then I've also got just a big list. So if they choose the red, they know it's linked to the red energy center, and these might be what they're feeling. And there's physical symptoms linked to it as well. So, you know, if they choose red, it might be that they've got lower back issues or something like that, you know. So it can work in reverse order. Even if the child says I'm feeling sick, could be an anxious tummy, and they just need a little bit of confidence, which will be the yellow one.
Wow. Just like, that is amazing. I absolutely love everything that you've just spoke about. And also all the resources, the way that you support the parent and the child, but there's loads of links in there. There's so many connections. And also the biggest thing there is if the parent's going through a lot and the child's going through a lot, their relationship's going to be disjointed, isn't it? So all the things that you've talked about helps them build that relationship up, because it's them doing things together, isn't it? Which is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is important for the parents to do those activities, because the older we get, the more we lose our inner child. And we become so serious and so stressed with life. And if we can get back that inner child and, you know, do run around as an adult with your bare feet and go on the swings and things, it just brings so much joy and allows us to feel better and our child to feel better.
Definitely so. And I found my inner child after however many years, and that's why I got myself this, because this is from my childhood, and I never had a Care Bear. So when I saw it, I was like, well, this is its time. But I am very much, I live for my inner child now. And when you talk about joy, I think it's a big thing. So then it allows you to be silly and not feel embarrassed, doesn't it? Or you've done something wrong, and that you can allow, and it changes your energy as well. And that's what I've kind of noticed with when I'm working with the children that I'm working with, that the energy is very different, because I'm very different myself. And it's that connection in it, it's that understanding. And you'll know with the work that you do that children just don't always feel heard or listened to, and that can be from a young child right up until a young person, because I work with up to 19, and when you step in and you're able to not rescue them, but just say, I'm here, you know, I'm giving you this space, but I'm here to create this really gentle and caring and understanding space. Then then they see that as well, don't they, with the parent, because they're getting the same as in the way that you work. And I just think it just flows so beautifully. It's just so lovely. I want to ask you, Rachel, are any of your resources, can any of them be ordered? Can they be bought for the public, or is it through like your work that you do with your clients, your families?
Oh, no. The cards are available all the time. I think I sent you a link for those. And the 2 books that I've got are available on Amazon, or you can order them through me. The Mental Health Monsters, there's just a few of these little ones left. I'm working on getting them remade. So until I've got that, they won't be readily available, but there are a few if you're quick.
I better get me ordering now then, better now. Okay, so I honestly, my inner child was just sat there listening to you going, oh, this is so exciting. I love this. And all the different little monsters. I love that they're connected to the chakras as well, because it helps that real kind of spiritual side, doesn't it, come out, but in not a forced way, just a real kind of gentle way as well. So you briefly said earlier about like the kind of things that you did before your career, you know, your jobs and things. Where do you think it all started with where you are now?
I think I have a chronic illness, and it took 16 years for the medical profession to diagnose me. So they think it started when I was 8, and they didn't diagnose me till I was 25. So I think all throughout my childhood, I was living with this concern that I didn't know what it was. And there wasn't much like this around when I was younger. But because I've come from a traditional family, and again, this is a belief and a conditioning, it was that you should go to university, you should get a job. And so that's what I did. And I went into pharmacy. But I absolutely hated it. And I stuck it because that's what I thought I should do for about 7 years. But then I became ill. And I thought, okay, well, my body, I can't keep going. So I'd always wanted to be a teacher. So I then went into teaching. Loved my PGCE. But then when I went to do the training year, I had the mentor from hell and I had a nervous breakdown. So what is going on here? And then because of my illness, I wasn't able to have children naturally. So we went through IVF, and after the teaching debacle, we decided that that's what we would do. So having been told it would be very difficult for me to have children because now I don't have any hormones in my body, I have to take them all via tablets. And we actually were blessed with 2 children from 3 rounds, so 1 in the second and 1 in the third. So they are truly my miracle boys. And when I took time off to look after them for 7 years, I was the most happy I have ever been. I lost weight. I did my inner child stuff because I was singing and dancing and all of that with them. But then my brain told me that I had to go back to work again. So the only thing I thought I could do was like teaching assistant work. And again, that led to me being hugely stressed. So finally, I realized maybe my body's trying to tell me something here. And I went on and then started my business. And I think sometimes we resist what we're being told by the universe, by God, by our body, whatever it is you believe in, because we are so conditioned to do something one way. And so this is very much what I work with parents, with mothers specifically on as well, because society still expects us as mothers to be the one to do the house, the cooking, the thinging, everything, and as well as holding down a job. And it's too much. And we need to change the way that we as mothers are represented. And that I want to lead a revolution in that. You know, the story, the old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, is absolutely true. And so it's important for mothers to have time for themselves, not to feel guilty about it, because having that time will improve their energy. Again, it comes round to this energy thing. And when they feel better, their whole family will feel better. So yeah, it's a roundabout way, a long way of telling you that's where I came from, but it weaves its way through everything that I do, my whole story.
And that comes across your passion when you're talking about like the way that you're able to support. But then obviously it must have been such a massive relief when you were finally got your diagnosis after 16 years.
It was and it wasn't. What I had before was it was called Cushing's disease. I had a benign tumour on my pituitary, which is causing 10 times too much stress hormone to course through my body. And because of that, I was able to do lots of things because I was always on high alert. But it was actually a life-limiting condition. And had they not removed that tumour, I would have died. So they removed the tumour and told me that I should recover fully, but I have never actually recovered. Now I have to, as I said, take lifelong medications. And I think that whole again, another part of the story really is that my blood work shows that all my levels are normal, but emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, and in those first few years, I felt worse than ever. And the medical profession don't look at that. They
No.
only look at the physical side, at the blood work. And I wanted more. And so that again has weaved through. That's why I did the holistic therapy diploma,
Yeah.
um, reflexology, Reiki, energy clearing, all of that, because there is more. We are a whole body. We're not just one dimensional.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. So, and you did it because you wanted to, I'm guessing, explore yourself more as well, and kind of holistic is so different, isn't it? To, if I think about like counselling, it comes across as a talking therapy. Not in my place, it isn't, absolutely not, because I feel that talking is only one part of it.
Mm.
And I'm not a holistic therapist, as in Reiki, hypnotherapy, anything like that, but I work very holistically with the children. We don't just sit on a chair and, talk. Some children do, but there's still some areas of creativity that come in. So we might move. If a child comes in and you can see that they're really, really struggling and they're not able to focus, we'd get up and move about and wriggle and things like that. Do you know what I mean? And then creativity that opposite way. So like a kind of a mindfulness meditation by
Yeah.
doing colours and, things like that. And then obviously tuning into their bodies with the feelings. And for the children that don't understand what a feeling is, we use colours like you do in your way. I don't use it to the chakras, but it is very rainbow coloured, isn't it?
Mm.
So whatever colour they choose for the word angry, for example, and it might be red, it might be black, it might be blue, it's whatever works for them. And then tuning in where they sense it in their bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a big thing for a child, isn't it? Because that's like, oh, but that, and adults as well, because there's, like you said, we've been so conditioned to behave certain ways that you become numb to your senses, don't you? And
Yeah. Yeah.
and it totally changes how you understand yourself, and so I'm guessing you did what you did so that you could understand yourself. And I can imagine that's helped you in your business, in your work, the way that you support families as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a totally different person to who I was even 7 years ago, maybe. I think the whole understanding that when we experience a difficult emotion, it's not trying to trip us up, it's actually trying to teach us something. And if we can work through it, then it can have a life-changing impact. And I think what you said about the children, they all learn differently and not all of them are able to talk to us. And that again was another reason from my teaching that I wanted to do something that involved them, because teaching nowadays is so much about ticking boxes and
Yeah.
getting results and being talked to, and you don't learn that way.
No.
And there are children who feel that they are a failure because they can't tick those boxes, they can't get the A's, but they may be brilliant at art or drama. And so again, when I work with children, it's very much about what their interests are and weaving it in. And if the child is older, then we will start to look at where in their body they feel it. And if where normally the solar plexus chakra is, which is generally a yellow, if they feel angry there and pick red and it's there, then we'll go with that. It's not a
Yeah,
set
yeah.
pattern.
No. No, not at all. No. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So what do you feel that you will like build on your business? Are you happy where it is? What would you say is what next? If anything, it might be just where you are.
Oh no, blimey, there's loads of things. If I've got the time, what I'd love to do is create an app for children. with the colours and the activities, and maybe add in the parents' stuff as well. You know, if you feel this, this, and this, then do this, this, and this, or give yourself some time today, gratitude journals, all of that. I'm actually launching a workshop next Thursday called the Motherhood Reset, which is very much an interactive workshop supporting parents, mums, to understand how to calm their nervous system down, because all our patterns reside in our nervous system, and that's why we react when we know better. Helping them uncover one of the beliefs that might be driving 90% of their reactions, and really helping them reconnect back to who they are. That person has never left, but it's just been built on with all the needs and the wants and the beliefs of society, and it's important to get back and align with that person. So that's the workshop next week. And then I also want to get into schools. I would love to get into schools with this sort of work with the children. Just confidence building, relationship building, it's all linked to these colours. And I think it's super important that they have things like that to fall back on. So yeah, lots of things.
Definitely so. So very exciting in your world then, I'd say,
Yeah.
Rachel. So where can people find you?
So Facebook, I've got a profile, I've got a page, I've got a group. My group is called Conscious Motherhood Collective. My profile is just Rachel Brown. It's me with a purple top. And Instagram is _ Rachel E Brown _. So those are the main places.
And we'll add them to the show notes as well, so people can find you, and also the links if they want any of your resources as well. So I always talk about 3 tips. Would you say that you've got some, maybe for parents, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I would say that everybody should have at least 5 minutes a day doing something of their own, something where they're not disturbed by anybody else. And a great tip that I heard once was that if you're taking your time, put a cap on, and the children will then know that, you know, for those 5 minutes, you're having your space. And as they grow, it may be easier. It's not as easy when they're younger, but it is important, and it actually shows the children that you are worthy of time for yourself. So that's a really important one. The next one would be if you are feeling low, don't suppress the emotions that are coming up. Sit with them. Try and feel where in your body those emotions are coming to the fore. It might be through a tight chest, it might be a headache. And rather than just going on about your day, give yourself a few minutes to tap in and say, what are you trying to tell me? And you may not get anything to start with. It is a practice, but simply stopping and acknowledging you have this difficult emotion is the first step to releasing it. And you may well find that if you say something like, you know, some doubt comes up, you say, I hear you, doubt, but I'm choosing to feel joy in this moment. And it's just so simple, but it's so powerful. And the last thing I would say is make time for family. Every day, make time for family. We always sit down as a family for tea, and it then allows communication to happen. Might not be a lot of communication, And if you don't know what to say, then maybe just ask everybody what the best part of their day was, because everybody then feels heard, they feel supported. And the more that happens, the more the harmony and healthy environment starts to grow. And it always starts from small things. Don't try to run a marathon before you've taken the first step. Just take that one small step and it will grow.
They are wonderful tips. I love they were all wonderful, but the one that stood out for me is giving yourself as a parent 5 minutes by putting something on visual that a child can see, that they're like, okay, it's like holding the spoon, isn't it, when you're doing the talking? It's like, this is my space, this is for me. So yeah, I really like that tip a lot, definitely. So yeah, they are so wonderful. So because we've talked quite a bit about like having fun, joy in a child, I thought it'd be interesting. Now you don't know about this, so this is on the spot. What you do for your inner child, you know, because we're here, aren't we? We support so many other people, and then sometimes we forget about ourselves. And like you said, you know, that burnout can happen. You can go have that real kind of be in that mental state where you just can't manage. And you've gone through a lot with your health, so not just that physical, that emotional side, but now you're in kind of a would you say balanced kind of state now?
Yeah. And it's interesting you asked that, because I was actually thinking about this recently. I did an exercise called the emotional sovereignty, and I've you know, as a coach, it's important to put everything that you teach into practice, and I've done so much of that with giving my children responsibility and allowing them to cook. Sometimes they are obviously older, but the earlier you can give them responsibility, the less burden you have on yourself. But when it came to joy, I was like, well, what do I actually do? And I have a non-negotiable that I play tennis on a Friday. I have a tennis coach.
Oh, wonderful.
And I do that every Friday, and I've done that for 2 years. But I've got to the point now where I'm like, no, I need more. And this exercise that I did actually was it was quite enlightening. I've been thinking about going to the gym for years and years, and it came out in this exercise that I should go to the gym. And I think what stopped me is because of the illness. You know, I can get very, very tired, and I tend to go at things like a bull in a china shop. And so I was like, no, join the gym. If you just do 10 minutes on an exercise bike, that is brilliant. It's taking that first step. I can play my music really loud and, you know, get the vibe on, and that will bring me a lot of joy. And then also going to a cafe. I used to go to a cafe and do a bit of work, but we got a coffee machine. And so I tend to use the coffee machine now rather than go to the cafe. But I remember when I went to the cafe, it was, you know, I was like, wow, I'm living this life where I've got a business that I love and I can do it anywhere I want. So bringing that back is so important. So yeah, there's lots of little things coming back into my life to bring that joy back.
It is so important, and it's crucial for us to have joy, because like you said right at the beginning, there's so much sadness in the world, and you know, and all that we can't control, and a lot of this is about what we can't control, isn't it? But for you to just kind of have that time for you, it just makes such a difference. I just like being silly, like dancing around my house silly, and I got to that stage because I've done choirs for years, and a lot of that will have been conditioned as well, you know, as I was growing up. And then as an adult, it was about me, but then it still didn't feel right. Anyway, a couple of years ago, I joined an amateur dramatic society, and you know what? It's like, I mean, you should see me doing the dances. It takes me forever to learn these simple moves because my brain can't really function. And we were doing one other day, and I'd got to move my left foot, and it wouldn't move. It were like it would just would just looks like you just need to move it forward as if you. It wasn't happening at all, and I'm like, I don't get that, because I become the child. I'm like, I'm confused now. But it's about doing something. And if you want more, you want more. Get more, like you're saying, going to the cafe and doing some work there and things like that. We have to look after ourselves, don't we? Because nobody else can in the way that we can. So,
no.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
we are our greatest project,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, certainly so.
And life is for living, it's for enjoyment. We were put here for a reason, and if we go around feeling sad and upset all the time, then something's not quite right, and we need to start to address it.
Absolutely. That's such a beautiful ending as well. I loved that. That was just like, yeah, that's really good. I've really enjoyed talking to you today, Rachel. Thank you for being my first guest of 2026. And kind of thrown in at the deep end with a few things that we'd not previously discussed. So thank you. And I will be on your website just ordering some of your things, especially the little yellow one, because it works with my chakras, and obviously I'm a yellow person, so definitely so. Thank you so much for everybody who has joined me today. It's been wonderful to be back. And I've got lots of exciting guests coming up this year. There has been a few changes. As you noticed, we talked about the inner child a bit more because it means so much. So I am going to say bye, and I will see you all soon. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank
see you later.
you.
Bye.